There were calls for President Obama to speak out in the wake of the verdict all week, especially from within the African-American community. White House officials tell me that President Obama was watching the reaction to the verdict since it came down last weekend. He spoke to his family about the reaction, and he spoke to his team here at the White House. He was watching responses both in the African-American community and in all communities across the country. They tell me those reactions, as you know, quite varied. I'm told that it was last night that he went to his team here at the White House and said that he would like to talk to the nation about the verdict and about Trayvon Martin's death. He'd like to do it in both personal terms and at some length. And he decided with them that the White House press briefing room would be the best place for him to do that. So he surprised us all by stepping behind the podium right before Jay Carney's daily briefing this afternoon. President Obama broke his silence, offering his own experiences as a window into frustrations and sadness in the African-American community.
When Trayvon Martin was first shot, I said that this could have been my son. Another way of saying that is Trayvon Martin could have been me 35 years ago.
He spoke in uncharacteristically blunt and personal terms.
There are very few African-American men in this country who haven't had the experience of being followed when they were shopping in a department store. That includes me. There are very few African-American men who haven't had the experience of walking across the street and hearing the locks click on the doors of cars. That happens to me, at least before I was a senator. Those sets of experiences inform how the African-American community interprets what happened one night in Florida. And it's inescapable for people to bring those experiences to bear.
For a president who often offers colorblind answers to questions about race.
The best thing that I can do for the African-American community or the Latino community or the Asian community, whatever community, is to get the economy as a whole moving.
Today's comments were a striking departure.
There's a lot of pain around what happened here.
President Obama said his team is weighing a number of policy responses to Trayvon Martin's death, training state and local officials to avoid racial profiling, encouraging states to reconsider stand your ground laws, backing new programs that support young black men.
Is there more that we can do to give them a sense that their country cares about them and values them and is willing to invest in them?
The president made clear he respects the jury's decision.
They rendered a verdict. And once the jury's spoken, that's how our system works.
But said he believes the reaction to the verdict has to do with something larger.
And that all contributes, I think, to a sense that if a white male teen was involved in the same kind of scenario, that from top to bottom, both the outcome and the aftermath might have been different. I just ask people to consider, if Trayvon Martin was of age and armed, could he have stood his ground on that sidewalk? And do we actually think that he would have been justified in shooting Mr. Zimmerman, who had followed him in a car, because he felt threatened? And if the answer to that question is at least ambiguous, then it seems to me that we might want to examine those kinds of laws.
Well, sources also tell me President Obama has not spoken with Trayvon Martin's parents, although you did hear him acknowledge them in his remarks today and also in his statement over the weekend. I should also point out that the president did suggest in his remarks that he believes race relations are improving in this nation with every generation.